Okay, this video is to look at how to make a human eye. Now, there are a few things you need to remember about the human eye, and it has to do with what's in the head. So, in our head, we have an eye socket, and your eye socket is roughly circular. Inside that socket rests your eyeball. The eyeball is, again, fairly circular from the front. It has a pupil within it with an iris. The iris is that black part in the middle that lets all the light in. All right. The pupil is the part that gets, or sorry, the iris is the part that gets larger and smaller. The pupil lets all of that light in. So we have something that looks sort of like that floating around in our head. Now, we don't see all of that because we have eyelids. Those eyelids cover our eyeball. And your eyelid, if you look in the mirror, you can see this, will always cover the top part of your iris. Now, the bottom lid will cover in some cases, some of that iris, and sometimes not. So that is going to be up to you and how you see your eye. Now, how do I get this to look like a proper eye? This is what we're going to work on here. All right. So as you're drawing your face and as you're drawing your eye, I want you to start with a circle. That is going to be our eyeball. Place it about where your iris is going to go. And then we're going to cover that with an eyelid. Now that top eyelid, think of it as sort of like a staple that you have sort of squished out. If you think about it this way, you will wind up with closer to what you're looking for. If you try for a perfect sort of curvature, you wind up coming up with something that looks a little outside of realistic. So by making it actually less realistic, it winds up looking more realistic. This has to do with the way the eye actually comes out of your face, which is why it looks like that. So we have this upper eyelid. Now there's a tear duct here, right? If this is the nose here, right? There's a tear duct here. So the lower eyelid is going to come in a little bit first, and then it's going to curve and meet up with the upper eyelid. Okay, so we wind up with something that looks a little bit like that. Now, a couple of things. A lot of people want to put eyelashes on their eyes. Please do not put them on that way. That is not realistic looking at all. For those of you who do makeup, you know that you want an eyeliner to help look at your eyelashes. So by making your upper eyelid a little bit darker and then just adding sort of a wingtip at the end, you get what looks like a much more realistic eyelash. And of course, when you're done, you get rid of that extra circle there. We don't need that. Another thing that helps kind of give a little life to your eye is to not make that pupil completely complete, basically. Leave a little bit of space for a light reflection there. And then you can add in your color or just lines. If you look at your eyes, you see they come in from the sides. Leaving that little bit of space right here for a light reflection makes your eye look like it has a little bit of moistness to it so that it looks more realistic. These shapes here where our eyeball was help us to then look at where the shadow should be. And we'll talk about that more later. All right, so there's a basic eye for you.